Good evening, everybody. This is Earl J. Griffin Sr. coming to you again to try to complete the 8 factors that make you a more influential leader that we began this morning when the internet abruptly decided I had been on long enough and just crashed my entire media machine. And so I decided I would come on this evening and finish it so that you would have the total view and the total picture of everything that was going on. So I'm glad you're here with me. I'm glad that you're tuning in. And I want to welcome you into this broadcast. Welcome you back with me this evening. It won't be as long because we only have one more factor to do. But I want to do a brief recap of all the factors that we covered this morning and perhaps just a short snippet of the initial introduction. And the things that are key about the introduction are, first of all, there is a leader who is a leader by authority, who has been given a title, whether that is the president of a corporation, whether it is the pastor of a church, whether that is the vice president or the director of a board, whatever the title is, that title comes with authority and responsibility. And then there is a natural leader, the one who has the influence among the team, the company, whatever the organization is. And in a lot of cases, most influencers do not have official titles. But if you're a person with an official title, you want to move your leadership forward such that you will become a person who leads by influence and not by edict. You want to become a person that leads based on these 8 factors and that really has the heart of the organization and the people you serve in mind. Again, we said, John Maxwell says leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. If you cannot influence anyone, then you won't be leading long, even if you have the title. People will walk out on you, will forsake you, will do something differently. So you have to decide if you're going to be the type of leader that has the necessary influence among those who are under your charge or who are following you, if you have the necessary skill set to be an effective leader. There's a book entitled The Art of Leadership. And because it is an art, it can be learned, it can be honed, it can be developed. So this morning we talked about 7 factors. Let me rehearse them for you now. The first one was the value of relationships. You have to have a network that is able to extend your leadership capacity. In other words, you can no longer be comfortable being the smartest one in the room. Excuse me. There's no way that you can hang out with folks who always know less than you about a situation, a subject, an area of concentration. You've got to have people in your circle, especially your inner circle, who challenge you, challenge your abilities. So you have to build relationships. You have to build relationships. Relationships are vital. Relationships are key. And you need to engage the process of developing significant and key relationships. Your relationships should be among those who are also leaders, people who have ideas, people who are creative, people who are forthright with speaking their opinions. You don't want to be surrounded by yes people. You want to have some people that will challenge you and challenge your processes, challenge your thoughts, and challenge you so that you can always be developing yourself. So relationships are key. I said this morning, networking is the key. And so I don't want to get into that. Please watch the first part of this training. The second thing that we talked about was trust. People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. But not only that, can you help me? Do you care about me? And can I trust you? Can you keep confidence? Can I come to you knowing that unless I share with you something that is illegal for you to hold, it will be safe with you? Can you be a confidant as my leader so that I can share with you the things I need to say in order for me to improve? Trust is a very valuable commodity in the area of leadership. If people cannot trust you, then they won't follow you. They may do the minimum based on your position, but they won't follow you based on your influence or based on who you are, because they see no way that they can trust you. That's the second thing: relationships, trust. And then the third thing was honesty, or is honesty. Are you a person of integrity? Are you genuine? Are you the same leader in private that you are in public? Is your life aligned with the things you say you believe and the things you say that you stand for? Or are you a hypocrite, one way in public and a whole different person in private? You're not being honest. You need to find a field that you care about and work that field, because your passions should be in line with your projects, and your projects should be in line with your passion. So if you're doing something that you don't have a passion for, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to remain honest and genuine in your emotional attachment to that particular field, that particular craft. Some people are lost now because of COVID-19, and they're not able to get in an office environment, a church environment, and they're about to lose their minds because all they are is wrapped up and tangled up in a building, either the office building, the church building, or whatever. It's not their passion, but they've been in the field for quite some time. They know how to do institutional church without an allegiance, a personal allegiance to the church. And so they're being stressed to the max. They're stressing out because they don't have their comfort zone. They don't have their crutch, if you will. And so they're not genuine any longer. As a matter of fact, after COVID-19, I dare say there will be a lot of people who are in certain crafts, certain fields, certain areas of influence that are going to leave, simply because they're going to discover that it really didn't matter to them anyway. And they're going to come face to face with themselves while they're stationed in their homes, and while they're unable to be out in the public where they can put on that facade that they so desperately clung to before COVID-19. The pandemic exposes who you are, reveals what you care about, allows you to confront the lie and be honest with yourself, such that you can then pursue other things that are more in line with who you are than what you were before COVID-19. That's very important. And then we talked about knowledge. That if you're going to be able to influence people, you have to know what you're talking about. You have to know your subject matter. And you have to be a person that is continually learning. I said earlier, if your degree is older than 5 years, you're outdated. You need to take a continuing education course. You need to take a webinar, a seminar, a sabbatical, and go on a week of intense renewal of your education, get caught up with the new ideas and the new things that have been discovered in your field, so that you'll remain relevant. Because if you don't keep your knowledge base up to date, you'll soon be given outdated ideas for fresh problems. And fresh problems require up-to-date and novel insights in order for people to be influenced and to follow you. You can't take a 19th century precept into the 21st century if it does not apply. And if you don't keep up with your knowledge base, you won't realize that what you learned and when you graduated 50 years ago is outdated. And you need to go take refresher courses. Stay current in your knowledge and your knowledge base. And then we said investing in others, that if you're going to increase your influence, you have to be a mentor. You have to be a mentor to others. And that, you have to invest in others. You have to pour into others so that you can expand your influence and have people who are available to carry on what you are passionate about in the way that you are passionate about it, and do things that will promote what you're passionate about past your lifespan, past your official capacity in that role that you're carrying now. And then we talked about having a clear direction. We do not need, in the area of the pandemic, wishy-washy leaders. And then I think we ended on flexibility, that the leader who's going to have influence must be flexible. Flexible in the right way and with the right things, not necessarily your convictions, but your methods of doing things, your methods of reaching out. Flexible. You got to be able to go with the flow, ride the waves of change and provide your input that will influence others to be able to go with the flow and ride the wave of change. And so then we're to number 8 now. We've talked about relationships, trust, honesty, investing in others, a clear direction, flexibility, knowledge. And the 8th factor is, inspiration. Inspiration. A leader who cannot inspire people to do what it is they do not wish to do will not have influence in that person's or that team's or that organization's life. You must be able to inspire. Even in the midst of COVID-19, you've got to be able to inspire your team, inspire your church, inspire your mastermind group, inspire your family, inspire those around you to pursue greatness, because this too shall pass. Go back and listen to part 1, and I did quite a big piece on this under the section of a clear direction. You got to be able to inspire others to greatness, even when it seems as if the world is falling apart. You got to be a hope dealer. I heard that term first in the movie A Lesson Before Dying. And the preacher on that movie was accused of being a hope dealer, not dealing in truth, but just giving people hope. And of course, he said, that's what I do. That's what I'm called to do. In the midst of despair and desperation, I inspire people to rise above the fray, to get into a whole new psychic, a whole new mindset, to confront the obstacles that the situation has presented and rise above mediocrity and walk into excellence and do great things. If you want to increase your influence, you must be able to inspire people, because it's so easy for people to become paralyzed with fear, to become hopeless, to believe that que sera, sera, to believe that there is nothing that they can do to get themselves out of the doldrums. But you, being who you are as a leader, make sure you inspire others. Frank Poe said it like this: influential leaders inspire others. Being inspirational is not about having a charismatic personality. It's about motivating others to work hard and reach higher levels of spiritual maturity. Congregations tend to excel when individual members are inspired to use their gifts to fulfill the church's mission. Influential leaders find ways to inspire others to excel. And we have many challenges in the church, in the world of the church, and I'm sure in the corporate world, in society, to inspire people to keep setting goals, to inspire people to reach for their goals and objectives, despite all of the updated information about COVID-19, despite the loss of loved ones, despite the loss of jobs or the layoffs of their jobs. It is easy for people to just sit down somewhere and do nothing. Just shut off their creative juices. It's easy for pastors to say, well, because of the pandemic, we can't pay the budget. It's easy for pastors to say, my people are laid off. They don't have any money. Before anything, you'll find yourself making excuses for people that you haven't even asked for help. You'll just assume that people are not able to do because of the news that you're receiving from the CDC and others, and from the government about the unemployment rates and all of that stuff, the GDP. You would just begin to assume that people are not able to do what they've been called to do. And that is wrong. You should always seek to inspire people to do what must be done, even when the challenges are great. You must have the long-term view. You must understand the big picture as a leader, and you must be able to define reality for your team. That was one of the keys of leadership that we talked about so long ago. One of the roles of the leader is to define reality for his or her team. You define the reality. You put what you're going through in context of what you're called, hired, or paid to do. You've got to inspire people. There's so much to uninspire them, but you've got to be one that dig deep. You remember I said I.V. Hilliard said that if you're going to be a leader, you've got to have mental toughness. Set your mind, set your resolve, and stick to it despite the circumstances, despite the challenges that you face. You have to inspire. The best way to influence is not by edict, it is by inspiration. People do what they're inspired to do because they are engaging their emotions, they're engaging their will, they're engaging their creativity, they're engaging their senses, they're engaging their total being to bring about what you have set as a defining reality for them. In a lot of ways, in this pandemic, you have to help folk understand who they are. More than anything else, they need to understand who they are and what gifts and graces they have within them to overcome whatever challenge they face. There's stuff in the people who look to you for leadership that you have not developed, that you have not cultivated, and you don't have to be a charismatic personality. It's not about laughing and fun. It's about the way you do what you do And the way people see you do what you do will inspire them to achieve higher heights. If they see you refuse to quit, faint, roll over, refuse to make excuses, then they too will rise another level in their determination to be who they're called to be who they should be, even when they don't feel like the wrestling and the struggle that they have to endure. And so then inspiration is the eighth factor. And I hope this evening that you will find a way to become inspired. Inspire your team when they're talking negatively, when they're speaking, we cannot. Inspire them by when they're saying what they can't do, you be consistent and persistent doing the same thing you were doing before COVID-19 that you need to be doing now. Be consistent. Don't you become overwhelmed and back away or shy away from what you're called to do. You stay the course. You stay focused. You stand firm, and that will inspire them. Well, my leader is sticking to it. I'm going to stick to it. My leader is hanging in there. I'm going to hang in there. And if you are a leader, that's the number one thing you can give to your team is an example of how to move in COVID-19 or any other situation that presents a challenge to them accomplishing their goals. Even now, there are goals and processes that you can put in place to accomplish your mission. It's going to take you to sit down and do some critical thinking, do some 7-step or 8-step now problem-solving techniques, to do some SWOT analysis, to do some problem-solving graphs. But when you sit down to do it, you're looking for a window of opportunity that you can step into to overcome the challenge. So the leader inspires not by how much they smile, not by how much they shout, not by how much, they try to keep a good face on for the people. No, that's not the way to inspire. All of those tools can be used, but the basic understanding of inspiration is by example. You will follow a leader who demonstrates the ability to have the mental toughness not to quit in down times, who has the mental toughness to make decisions that are clear, that are concise, that are bold, even in the face of obstacles. I'm going to drink a sip of water on that. I felt my tongue getting tired. Inspire people by your example. I know a friend of mine in this era of pandemic has just started a new business and refuses to relinquish her dreams because of COVID-19. What about you? Have you set your objectives to the side because you believe there's no way to accomplish what it is you need to accomplish because you're afraid of getting the virus or being exposed? Everybody's been exposed. I just want you to know that right now. We are all wearing masks, but each one of us has been exposed to the virus in some way or another. But the fact that you have not succumbed to the virus says you still can accomplish your goals. You can take courage and move forward in the knowledge that you're able and that you have what it takes for you to lead, for you to set high standards, for you to reach higher than you've ever gone or reached before. Leadership is everything. Everything rises and falls on leadership. We have an excellent example. We have an excellent example. We have an excellent example in the Lord Jesus Christ. We have an excellent example in our presidents of corporations who have led their corporations during this pandemic, who have set up new processes for ensuring their workers' safety, who have followed the guidelines, who have done and made hard choices to keep the company afloat. What about you in your personal life? What about you as a team leader, you as the leader of your family? Have you continued your family business? Have you continued to do those things that were profitable? Or have you just sat down and wept or lamented that you were now unable? That's not inspirational. Inspiration says you will summon the mental toughness to persevere, to charge straight ahead, or to go around, through, or over an obstacle. As the poet says, I shall persist until I succeed. And I wonder tonight, those of you who are listening, do you have that conviction? That you're not going to give up on your goals. You're not going to give up on your aspirations because of COVID-19, but you're going to dig in deeper and shore up your inner fiber and gain the fortitude to tough it out and see you accomplish one goal, one step at a time, checking them off, doing it, and doing it well. Go on, brush your shoulders off, because you accomplished what you set out to do. And that's why SMART goals are so vital and so crucial. To be a leader, you've got to have SMART goals. And you've got to be smart yourself. The theme for the year 2020 was move in silence. Well, we have occasion to do that now because of COVID-19. You're not out in the public's eye, but you can move in silence. And when COVID is over, everybody will know what you've been doing during COVID-19. Be the type of leader that inspires others to be who they're called to be. Be that type of leader. Be that type of leader. Because when you're that type of leader, guess what? People will follow you. You'll be an inspiration to them. And they will look up to you as a person with mental toughness. A person who can go through any type of adversity, but be able to come out unscathed. And the wounds that you bear, the scars that you have, will be the scars that resulted from you persevering. Your testimony, your story will inspire others. And when others see you move like you're moving, they're going to become courageous enough to do it for themselves. A lot of people want to know the secret to getting people to follow them. That secret is be true to who you are. Be authentic. Be tough. Refuse to quit. Refuse to be stopped. I noticed that in the era of pandemic, a whole lot of people are learning technology. They have the Zoom platform. They have a teleconferencing platform. They have StreamYard. They have Switcher. I mean, they're getting the elderly senior citizens are getting emails now because they know technology is the only way they can communicate with their families and their church members and their senior organization members. Organizations are having to have their meetings virtually, online, or by teleconference. People are adapting to this COVID-19 when 3 years ago, when someone wanted them to engage in technology, they adamantly refuse. But look what has happened now. It has become not a luxury, but a necessity for each one of us to have some skill in technology if we're going to be relevant in this generation. You can inspire others when you tell others, no, I didn't use email. I didn't even know what email was. But since March, I've got my grandbaby, I got my grandson to get me an email and to get me on Facebook, because I need to be engaged with the world and I need to be engaged with what's going on. And this is the only way we can do it now. It is a way to defeat COVID-19. And I'm so encouraged by all of those who are engaging in technology in this hour. Isn't it exciting? And leaders, your influence will grow as you take one person by the hand and teach them how to use the technology they need to be relevant in this generation. Even organizations that did not use electronic giving, did not trust the internet with their bank information or their debit card information. They're seeing now how through Cash App and Givelify and Tithely and Easy Tithe and all of these other Zelle from their banking organization, they're finding all of these ways to be able to send money to their children, send money to meet needs in their community, send money to donate to really valid causes such as Hurricane Laura's effect on Lafayette. People who can reach out to, especially our churches that were so heavily damaged, can reach out to that presiding elder, Elder Thompson, or reach out to Elder Banks there in South Louisiana and be able to send a donation, be able to do different things. It's all because of COVID-19. Were it not for COVID-19, they would not be able now to do all that they can do through technology. And so I am inspired as a leader to see how well the populace is adapting to the new normal, to the paradigm shift. Some people are slow to adjust and to adapt, yes, but the fact is they're still doing it. Everybody's not going at the same speed. But as a leader, you inspire them by encouraging them and reminding them of how long it took you to get where you are and what you had to go through to get where you are. Isn't that amazing? It is as if COVID-19 has opened, especially the Black community, senior citizens, to a whole new world, a whole new vista of learning, educate. They're being inspired. Their minds are becoming alert. They're engaging with their children. Oh, wow. Education is becoming fun. And that is the role of the leader, to chart a clear path through adversity to reach the other side. In the Bible, the story is told of Moses, who is confronted by a Red Sea in front of him, mountains on either side, and the Egyptian army behind him. He is faced with a challenge. He's faced with an obstacle, and everybody's looking to him as the leader to tell them what to do. He cannot relinquish his authority. He cannot delegate that to Aaron or to his sister, Miriam. He's got to take the authority given to him as the leader. And even when he kneels to pray, God's looking at him like, you the leader, what do you have available to meet this challenge? What did I give you to meet this challenge? And you know what it was? The rod. And he lifts up the rod. And so the sea parts and the people cross on dry land. They reach their destination, their temporary destination. But that's what leaders do. Leaders are in position as leaders with influence because of their skill set, their knowledge set, their ability to develop relationships, to have trust, and to be honest, and to invest in other people, to have a clear direction for where they're going that others can follow, to be flexible, and then to inspire them. And that's what Moses did. He inspired them to move forward when he used what he had as a leader to get the job done. Let me encourage you tonight. Thank you for coming on this second wave. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being with me. And I trust that you will remember these 8 factors that make you a more influential leader. And I pray that you will use them, successfully going forward. That you will go on the website, just Google leading ideas, and begin to study and learn. And we'll come again probably next week to share with you another leadership article and nugget. I'm not writing all of these, but I am being informed by them, learning from others, and sharing it with you. And so I trust and I hope that you will take full advantage of all 8 of these factors and move your leadership level up a notch. Until next time, you be encouraged. You take care. Be safe, but be courageous and be bold. As you boldly go through this pandemic, taking advantage of every opportunity that is presented to you, using what's in you and among your team to be great, to be excellent. Take care. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. God bless.